So you're over the age of 60. Did you know you're swimming in a vast ocean of people just like yourself where the financial sharks are swimming? And it's not safe to go back in the water. So in this episode of Hanging Out with Popsy Guy, we're going to talk about the things that, quite frankly, you need to know after you turn the age 60, the age of 60, I should say, because the financial sharks are out there and they're just waiting for you to come into the water, get in a little bit, look around, say, well, everybody in here is having fun. I might as well have fun. It looks safe. Then bang, one hits you and you never saw it coming. Yeah, I know that's a little bit weird. Sounds a little bit weird, but listen, we're in the 21st century. People want your money. Um, there's no shortage of people that want your money. That doesn't just include your family. It includes everybody else that you deal with. And so what I want to share with you are three entities that I think you need to pay attention to because they don't do anything other than sell money. And that sounds kind of strange, but I'm going to tell you who those three are and we'll break them down one by one. But the one that you really need to pay attention to, I know I need to pay attention to, are the fishers, right? These are the people who are fishing, not F-I-S-H-I-N-G, but P-H-I-S-I-N-G. What are they fishing for? Well, they're fishing for your information. So you're going to get emails and you're going to get texts and they're all going to look legit, or at least some of them are. They're becoming more and more legit day by day. I got one this morning, as a matter of fact. You probably got the same one. It was from PayPal. And PayPal just wanted to confirm that I had bought $5,000 worth of Bitcoin. And all I needed to do is to confirm, click on the link, and the purchase would go through. They just wanted to make sure that it was me who was doing it. I laughed because, number one, I don't have $5,000 to put on Bitcoin. Number two, what would that buy me? I think Bitcoin's trading over $100,000 a coin right now, so wouldn't get much for 5,000. But I love the attempts that they make. And what I'm learning over the years is to really pay attention to the text of the email or the text of the text, as it were. And you'll find the more time you spend looking through these, the more sophisticated they're becoming. First ones a couple of years ago, they were very unsophisticated. You could tell they were from people that didn't live in the United States or know proper English. Usually the greeting is, hello, dear friend, or something silly like that. So just be very careful. They're becoming more sophisticated. Do not click on any hyperlinks that are in the text or in the email. Do not call the number and say, why are you doing this to me? That's all they want. They just want you to react and to be able to engage in conversation. And you may be one of these people that's like, well, I'll show them a thing or two and you're going to read them the riot act, never contact me again, blah, blah, blah. But you'll be surprised how smooth talking some of these sharks can be. So just be very, very careful. And it's a kind of a rule of thumb that I've had and I share with my wife is that if you didn't ask for it, then treat it like junk mail that you find in your mailbox. Throw it away. Don't click on it. Don't open it. Don't engage in conversation because that's exactly what these fishers want you to do. All right, so I got that out of the way. Just be careful. Over 60, I'm telling you, they think because we're part of the baby boom generation that we have all the money. And if we have all the money, they want a piece of it. You're not going to miss it. Every one of us probably has an example of a friend, or maybe it happened to you, where you fell for one of these schemes and you lost money. It hurts, because that's money that you worked your whole life for, and all of a sudden you gave it away. And you can call the police. You can call the authorities, whoever it might be, the FCC or the FBI or the SEC or the CIA or any number one of these three-letter agencies. You know what they're going to tell you? Oh, man, I wish we could help, but there's really nothing we can do. So it really is incumbent upon us to be aware of these schemes, number one, and how good they're becoming. So just live by this rule. If you didn't ask for it, don't open it, don't click on it, and don't call. Same theory as like I said, when you go to the mailbox. Okay, so we get that out of the way. Just, I laughed this morning because this one was actually a really good one. I did not want to call, I did not want to click, but I could tell you one thing, it was actually a very good email. Let's see here. So the three entities that I wanted to share with you who I think are financial sharks are banks, insurance companies, and believe it or not, car dealerships. Now, what do all three of these entities have in common? Well, yeah, they do want your money. Without a doubt, they want your money. But what they really have in common is they sell money. Yeah, think about it. A car dealership really doesn't sell cars. They don't make a lot of money on the sale of a 4,000 pound piece of metal. They make money when you go into the finance department. Now, if you've had the unfortunate experience of buying a new car, it's all psychology, right? They want you to drive it, they want you to smell it, they want you to picture yourself in this as a owner of this car. And once they know that you're hooked, the salesman says, you know what? Here's the price. And that's where the beginning of the end starts. And the next thing you know, where are you headed into? The finance manager's office. Does the finance manager try to sell you a car? Nope. What does the finance manager try to sell you? Money. Here are the options that you can have from a financing standpoint. Here are the protections that I recommend you put on the car. That could include a warranty. The worst thing you could ever do, please don't do this, or tell your kids, don't do this when you're buying a new car. You buy disability insurance, right? So you're buying an insurance policy that supposedly will pay the insurance, pay the car payment if something should happen to you. Another way of selling money. So be very, very careful when you're going into a new car dealership and you're not planning on paying cash, or you think maybe I can wrangle a good deal out of these guys. And you know what? You probably did. You probably got the sticker price down, or you got something. You feel like a winner. You saved a couple of grand. As soon as you walk in that finance office, man, you just not only lost that couple of grand, you're handing back even more money because that's their job. Like I said, they don't make a lot of money on selling you that rolling piece of thunder. They make money selling you money. So be very careful. Do your due diligence. If you could pay cash, do that, but just don't go in there saying, hey, I've got cash, I'm going to buy a car. Well, I can have a whole discussion on how to do that, but there are some great resources on YouTube that really are very good at sharing with you how to negotiate purchasing a car. All right, so that's one. Second one is banks. I think I mentioned that. You think banks are places where you put your money, right? There's a vault in the back. You take $1,000 check, or you take your paycheck, or whatever it is, and you bring it to the cashier who's behind the bulletproof glass, and you sign it over. And back in the day, you thought, well, they're just going to walk it back to the vault and put it in there. That's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. So what that teller is going to do is have a nice friendly conversation with you and say, gee, Mr. Moran, oops, Popsy guy, then where'd you get the money? I'm very happy to take care of this for you. And you say, well, I just got an inheritance from so-and-so, or it's part of a distribution from my 401k. And if the numbers look pretty appropriate, that teller is trained to say to you, hey, before you leave, have you heard about our new money market rates? Or have you heard about our new CD rates? Or have you heard about whatever, right? Our mortgage rates. Whatever it is that the branch manager asks them to sell. And then if it's a financial product, they'll say, hey, have you sat down with our financial consultant, Joe Smith over there? Joe's a good guy. You know what? Joe might be able to help you find more interest on your money than just leaving it in a savings account. Stay right here and I'll go see if Joe's available. So they're not really interested in protecting your money, depositing your money, or any of that. They want to sell you more money. And why do I say that? Well, because Joe is an investment advisor / financial consultant that works in the bank. Joe does not work for the bank. Joe is not a bank employee. Joe works for an insurance company. And Joe's job is to take the money that you thought was going to go into a CD or a savings account or a money market account and put it into a fixed index annuity. As I said, I'm going to have a whole conversation about that coming up pretty soon. So you go into the bank and you thought, hey, this was a great idea. I'm going to put my money in the savings account. I know it's FDIC insured and I can get it anytime I want. Yeah, it's only earning 3-4%, what have you. That's okay. A couple of years ago, I was actually paying the bank to leave my money there. So you're like, well, if Joe can beat 4%, sure, I'll go over and talk to Joe. Hey, I got a lot of friends in the financial business. If they hear me say this, they're going to be really mad. Don't go talk to Joe. Joe's not an employee of the bank. Joe's an employee of either a broker-dealer or an insurance company that has a deal with the bank. Or if he's part of large, Wachovia, whatever they are now, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, which is Merrill Lynch, Citicorp, all these folks, they own their own broker-dealers. So on their card, it'll say they work for this bank. Let's say it's Bank of America, but they're really employees of Merrill Lynch. Just a little heads up, you have to know. And the reason I bring all this up is because you are the one that has all the money, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be inviting you to all these fancy steak dinners and coming by to see their fancy offices and meet all their younger than your grandchildren's staff. And the only person that's younger that's your age at these financial planning firms, open houses, are the people that own it. You think they're going to be around much longer? Heck no. They're already planning their own retirement. What they're doing is they're trying to get you to come in and become a client so these younger associates will have recurring revenue to build the business on. Again, I'm spilling all the beans, and I have no problem with that. I built a firm that, very, very small firm, nowhere near the size of some of these behemoths, but the whole idea is recurring revenue. And how you get recurring revenue are fees. And how do you get your fees? You charge for your advice, you charge for your financial planning services, or you sell investments that have recurring fees attached to them. That's how they make their money, and that's fine. Again, I think if you build a recurring revenue business, it's worth more money than a one-time business. For example, if you own an automotive repair shop, that's not a recurring revenue business. If your client who's been coming to you for 5 years to have their oil changed and their car fixed finds out there's a better deal down the street, that's where they're going to go. So that revenue that you used to count on every time the oil change or brakes needed to be done, it's gone. And that business doesn't have much worth. But I digress. That's just business models, and I get excited talking about things like that. So we've covered car dealerships who want to sell you money and disguised as a car, banks that want to sell you money disguised as savings. The third one, and again, I'm going to go in more depth in a different video on this, are insurance companies. You may say, well, Dave, no, Popsy, they don't sell money. They sell insurance, and everybody needs insurance. Yeah, they charge a premium, but come on, that's nothing. My guess is you know who Warren Buffett is. What you might not know is Warren Buffett is the owner of Geico. And Geico, if you don't know, stands for Government Employees Insurance Company. And it was back in the mid-70s that Warren Buffett bought Geico. And since then, Warren Buffett has loaded up Berkshire Hathaway with insurance companies. You want to know why? It's the float. If you're a fan of Warren Buffett, as I am, I love his value investing. I like the way he thinks. I'm sorry that we're not going to have him around forever. But his theory is that when I own an insurance company, I've got people who are paying me. Remember that recurring revenue? Month after month, year after year. And if I play my cards right, I can go years and years without having to pay them back. That's called the float. They send him money, he invests that money. What does he do with that money? He buys other companies. That's why insurance companies are the tallest buildings. 1,000 years ago when I was living in Boston and I worked for one of the big companies, I'm not going to name the name, but I can tell you one of the names is on the Declaration of Independence. You probably don't know who that is. I was like the only guy in my office who would actually tell clients, you really shouldn't buy this. And it was kind of a sales technique, but I wanted to make sure they understood. I said, you really don't want to buy this. And they'd say, well, why not? Aren't you trying to sell it? No, if it makes sense, absolutely. But did you ever consider when you're driving on 93 North or Route 3 North into the city, this is before the skyline changed so much, the tallest buildings that you see are the Prudential and the Hancock building? Why do you think that is? And I would just give people a heads up. Insurance companies are in the business to sell money and to make money. So just be very, very careful. I did a video not long ago on, is your advisor an advisor or a salesperson? So I want you to understand that it's okay to work with a salesperson. And it's more okay for you to ask questions, because nobody cares about your money more than you do. And the questions that you need to ask might seem very uncomfortable and almost like none of your business. No, it's actually your business, because without your money, nothing happens. If a sale is not made, nothing happens. So you have as much right as anyone to ask how this is going to be invested. What are the costs associated with this investment? Where and how can I get my money? How long do I have to wait to get my money? How much money do I have to pay to get my own money out? Now, they're going to send you a contract if you buy insurance, whether it's life insurance, an annuity contract, property insurance, car insurance, doesn't matter. You get a contract. I've said this before, the chances of you reading that contract front to back are about as much as you reading a prospectus when you buy a mutual fund. Yeah, you don't read it, and now it comes as an attachment to an email. It's a PDF, and if you're savvy, you've got a little folder on your computer, and you just drop it in that folder and say, I'll get to it later. But in that document is everything you ever needed to know about what you just did and what you just bought. It's incumbent upon you to read it. And guess what? Because we live in the golden age of technology, if you don't understand something, there's this company called Google. It has the answers to every question ever asked. And then there's one that I think is going to be fascinating. Some of my Christian friends think it's the Antichrist, but I'm certainly not that. I don't believe that. I believe it's a precursor to it, but I don't believe it is what they say, as ChatGPT 4.0. Matter of fact, I use ChatGPT to create my thumbnails because I'm about as artistic as a popsicle stick is flexible. I can't draw a snowman. So instead of trying to use all these free thumbnail tools, I just have ChatGPT do it for me. Now, granted, it's not perfect, because I may say, here's the image I'm looking for. And they gave me something that's not even close to what I wanted. But with patience, you just keep beating the computer over the head, and the AI finally gets it and says, oh, this is what you mean. So here we are in the age of technology, Google, ChatGPT. If you're in the position where you're about ready to retire, and I just finished a video talking about some of those folks, including myself, who didn't have an option. It's not like we were able to say, hey, I'm going to retire and then spend the next 4 or 5 years planning the retirement. It was forced upon us. However, if you are in that category of folks that have the ability to plan your retirement, and you're doing it methodically and you're doing it thoughtfully, use the technology that's available. Don't just take what the advisor or advisors or the talk radio or Dave Ramsey or whoever your favorite advisory person is. Don't take their word for it, because they're selling you something. That's just the end of the discussion. I don't care what you say. That is the truth. They are selling something because that's how they make money. Hey, the apartment complex I live in, they got to sell leases, right? So it's not a, sales is not a dirty 4-letter word like I think a lot of us were told. If you're a salesperson, it's because you can't get a real job. No, really, I think sales is, first of all, it's one of the oldest professions, if you know what I mean. And I think it's an excellent profession, but I think it's also incumbent upon you as the consumer of what's being sold is to ask questions, right? We didn't have that option years ago because we didn't have the information that we have now. So really, this is a theme, and I might just change the theme of my channel to nobody cares more about your money than you do. I don't care if you're 60 years old, 30 years old, or 90 years old. Nobody cares about it more than you do. They may come across as they do, they really don't. So the three financial shocks right now that you need to pay attention to, and to summarize, are car dealerships. They're just trying to sell you financing. They're just trying to sell you warranties. They're trying to sell you insurance. Be very careful. Banks. Banks don't take your money and put it in the vault and your name on it. Hey, do you remember? This reminds me of back in the 90s when Al Gore was on the debate stage and the whole question about Social Security came up. And Al Gore looked the camera in the eye and he was telling the United States of America, the citizens therein, that their Social Security money that was taken out of their checks was put into a lockbox with their name on it, which means that when you retire, we just go to that lockbox with your name on it and we take out the money. Are you serious? Are you serious about that? Um, so, so banks, car dealerships, and lastly, insurance companies. I'm gonna save the real in-depth dive on insurance companies for another video that I've entitled "How Much Did He Make?" And the couple is holding an insurance contract, an annuity contract specifically, because I think right now that's where all the money is being made in insurance. And you need to know it is not the panacea that is being touted as. And I'll share with you a little bit of insight, what to look for, what questions to ask. I'm not going to talk about different companies. That's not my gig. But I just want you to know that when you are being presented the option to roll your retirement money out of your current 401k into an IRA annuity, and that IRA annuity is going to be a fixed indexed annuity, and the claim to fame is you can't lose money. Most people stop right there and say, okay, how much should I write the check for? Don't do that without doing your own due diligence. So there you have it. Those are the things that Popsy Guy wanted to talk to you about. I think they're important. I don't know if you think the same thing, but then again, like I said, nobody cares more about your money than you do, and it needs to be your responsibility to know what you're getting yourself into. All right, so thanks again for hanging out with Popsy Guy. I'd love for you to subscribe, hit the like button, do some comments. You know, the algorithm loves engagement. I love hearing from you. I would be more than happy to hopefully answer your question in the comments. But if you have issues that you think would make sense for me to bring up, put those in the comments and we'll do that. So until we see you again, thanks for hanging out with Popsy Guy.